Marvel Legends, Totally Awesome Hulk Wave, The Marvels, Commander Rogers. Let's get it. What is good, my peeps? It's the Ruckus back at you again with another action figure review. In fact, this is the last figure in the Totally Awesome Hulk wave, aka the Marvels wave as well. This is the 7th video of the 7th figure and the 6th figure required to build the Totally Awesome Hulk. We are talking about Commander Rogers. So, yep, rocking the Marvel Legends right there. You see what we got going on the packaging. We got a digital render of Commander Rogers with some artwork in the back. You got the Marvel logo down below. Turn it to the side. There's some more of that artwork, which is very, very nice right there. Turn to the other side. We have got the digital render of Totally Awesome Hulk, as well as the 6 figures required to build Amadeus Cho, aka the Totally Awesome Hulk. And we've reviewed all of that about to mention now. Captain Marvel, Photon, Miss Marvel, those were the 3 MCU figures. Then Marvel Boy, Karnak, and now Commander Rogers. This series also comes with Iron Man, the Heroes Return version of Iron Man. He did not come with a Build-A-Figure piece, so he is not required to build Amadeus Cho. So if you are tired of Iron Man after Iron Man after Iron Man, you don't need to get Iron Man in order to build the Totally Awesome Hulk. To the back, we've got another digital render of Commander Rogers, and to our left we have the head for Amadeus Cho, and the digital render is showing Commander Rogers brandishing his photonic shield. It's not the vibranium adamantium alloy shield that he's known for having. When he was in this iteration, he wasn't carrying the shield, but he did get a photonic shield as its replacement, an energy shield, so to speak. Then on the top there, we have got the Marvel logo. And now, pointing it back to the front. Commander Rogers comes with the final piece to build the Totally Awesome Hulk, and that would be the head sculpt, as you can see right here. Set it aside, and coming up next, after this video, we'll put together the Hulk and see what's up with him. And the only accessory that Commander Rogers comes with, which in my mind isn't really an accessory, because any iteration of Captain America, or Steve Rogers if you will, that doesn't come with a shield outside of the Nomad, which we have never had a figure of, is like somebody having a figure of somebody without a hand or a foot or an arm or a leg. Here we've got Commander Rogers rotating 360 degrees. We get a visual of the character. The first thing I'll let you guys know, this is a redo. Hasbro put out a version of Commander Rogers many years ago, back in the Terrax wave. Believe it or not, that's how long ago it was, and very similar to what we got going on here. If anything, the colors are a little bit lighter. The blue is lighter than what we got with that original Commander Rogers. The original was like a navy blue. It was almost black. You'll see, because I'm going to compare them. There really is almost no difference. There are some differences. We'll point them out, but yeah, it's very faithful to the character when Steve Rogers went as Commander Rogers. It would have been nice if we had gotten an old head for Commander Rogers. He actually became Commander Rogers when he was depowered, if you will. The super soldier serum had went dormant within him, and he aged up. And I mean, he was still in shape. He was still like 90 something years old, but because the super soldier serum had enriched his body, he was still, very virile, if I could use that word here on YouTube. So it would have been nice if we had gotten an older head sculpt of Steve Rogers. And I may look into that for third party and see what's up. So there it is. We're going to take a closer look at our Commander Rogers and see what we got going on. And now looking at our guy up close. Once again, the digital print technology is doing great for the most part. The facial, it looks good, but maybe he looks a little too stern. I know I spoke on this in regards to Marvel Boy, how he doesn't just have the blank stare with his neutral head sculpt. The same thing can be said here for Rogers' head sculpt, but there's something a little funny about his expression. But other than that, I mean, it looks realistic. His face looks realistic. Paint apps look great. He's got the blonde hair, and there's a slight wash in there. So that's also good. Looking at it on the profiles, he's looking pretty stern, like he's annoyed, possibly even pissed off. Looking nice. And going down, like I said, his body is molded in this blue color, and he's got the white paint apps. Looking at mine, they look pretty good. There's no bleeding of the blue coming through the white, so I got over on that one. Look at the shoulders, and same thing on the right side, and then with the star, looks cool. Same thing on the left side. Turning to the rear, yeah, it's pretty good for me on the rear as well. And then going down the side there, we've got red paint, and there we go. Now I've got some bleed. See if you guys can see that right there. That's not clean at all for me, so that's unfortunate. And I've got a couple bleed throughs going on. So you've got, what you got here is red paint on top of blue, and then with white perimeter lines. And this right here is just a blemish, and that right there is a bleed through down there, if you guys can see that. On my left side's a lot better than the right side. That looks pretty good. It is what it is. Nothing going on in the back, not at all. So yeah, that's our Commander Rogers, head to toe. I'm going to take a measurement. For the life of me, I can't think of what this body mold is. But taking that measurement, we've got Mr. Rogers here. I just had to do it, y'all. He's coming in at a little over 6.5 inches tall. And yeah, help me out there in the comments. What buck is this? Inquiring minds, namely myself, would like to know. But speaking of that buck, let's see what we got going on in terms of articulation. Head is on a ball hinge. He can look up that far, look down that far. You get some pivot there. He can 360 it. He has no butterfly joint, so he can raise his arm up almost 90. It wants to, work its way back down. It might be because of this harness, which you can remove if you wanted to. You get the 360 going on. Be careful for the paint rub because of the harness. You've got bicep swivel. You've got double jointed pinned elbows. And you've got rotating wrists with horizontal hinge on both. And during my up and down review of the figure, I failed to mention we've got paint apps on that harness, which is molded in brown. You see we've got silver on the buckle, so I'd be remiss to not mention that. We've got silver on the belt, so that's pretty cool too. So there it is. Give you flowers. I don't want to be deemed unfair, Hasbro. We've got an ab crunch, so he can go forward that far. He can go back that far. He's got waist swivel, and your belt will draw up, so you can just put it back down to hide that waist swivel. He could do the splits, only that much. You would think Captain America doing better than that, but once again, as I said, this should really be Captain or Commander Rogers older, so maybe this is apropos for an older Steve Rogers, But what can I say? He can lift his leg up further than 90. Go back just a little bit. He's got the thigh cut, but of course it's going to break up the paint. But it is what it is. That's got to happen when you're not using fabric. Then you've got double jointed pinned knees, and see, here we go. That's not good because of that red. The pins stand out because they're black right there. Once again, it is what it is. We get toes that point forward that far, and not so much going up, because the top of the foot bumps into this lower strap that's around the ankle on the boot. We do get ankle pivot, and we get holes, peg holes at the bottom of his feet. Here we have our totally awesome Hulk Commander Rogers next to the T-Rex Commander Rogers. And I almost now for a second thought that Hasbro just repeated the same buck, but then looking closer, you can see that they have two different torsos for sure. The cut on the ab crunch on the T-Rex Rogers is different than the cut on the Hulk Rogers. And in terms of some other differences, obviously you can see that the color differences is made apparent. The stars on the striping itself on the totally awesome Hulk Rogers is thicker, as well as the star itself. The color of the harness and belt are different. The Hulk version is darker, as you could see, whereas on the T-Rex version the color is more like a caramel type of color. But and they are different as well. It's not the same harness. This harness is a lot, it's got more, it's bigger, more or less. The loops are bigger on the T-Rex version right there. And then looking at the boots, if you look at the boots, I'm going to move it up some. If you could see that, you see the tops of the boots, the overlay, if you will, the leg portions of the boots just like overlap the boot itself. It's almost like it's a separate piece, whereas on the Hulk version it actually carries over down into the shoe portion itself. So you've got that. Another difference is well, here's a similarity. They both didn't come with any additional hands, but I don't think, if I recall, they wasn't really doing that back then, additional hands. So that I can't even hold that against the T-Rex version. But they didn't come with any additional hands. Neither version came, but the T-Rex version came with trigger fingers. Now you ask why? That's because in addition to the T-Rex Build-A-Figure piece, which was the lower torso, if I remember correctly, and the photonic shield with which he's sporting in the back, it's a shield that they are repeating for, it looks seemingly they're repeating it with our Hulk version. The T-Rex version came with a pair of weapons. That's why he's got the trigger finger hands. And of course, we don't get weapons with this version of Commander Rogers, which is, it's really, it's something when you think about it. They essentially come with the same amount, they use the same amount of plastic, with the exception of whatever Build-A-Figure piece. The torso of T-Rex has got more plastic than the head for the Hulk. And then, of course, you've got these weapons. And the T-Rex version costs less, and our totally awesome Hulk version costs way more. And now we've got Commander Rogers along with the other three comic-based figures from this wave. On our left, we have Novar, aka Marvel Boy. On our right, we have Karnak of the Inhumans. And bringing up the rear, we have the Heroes Return Iron Man. So rounding out this review, the Marvel Legends totally awesome Hulk wave, the Marvels. Commander Rogers is a redo on a previous version, and I mean, there isn't really much difference. The head sculpts are different. The body's definitely different. The torso, I can tell you that much. And of course, the paint apps are different. Head sculpt is pretty nice. I think the overly stern look on it is kind of goofy. Not real. I guess that's just me. One thing I did not mention, I should have spoken more about the shield. It is utilizing that clip pin method, and Commander Rogers here, his wrists and forearm are a little bit thicker, so you do run the risk of snapping that peg, so be very careful when you apply it. We have no C-grip hands to use to put in for like a better throwing pose than what I have here. I had to clip the shield onto Steve's right wrist and then twist it so it isn't shown the clipping, to make it look like he's tossing it. So there's that. I think that's piss poor that we didn't get any other hands with Commander Rogers, but it is what it is. Figure looks good. I still can't pinpoint what buck this is. It's probably a mishmash of several different parts. If any of you guys can point out what buck this is, please let me know down in the comments below. It'd be greatly appreciated, because we are a community here and we help one another out, and that's how it's done.